Quick Nation, what's going on? In today's video, I'll be reviewing the new icon in the moment, Robson, which is a Manchester United legend, obviously. So I got him in the eFootball thing, you know, the points logging stuff. Yeah, I could make a video on how I got the points because I don't really fancy too much about getting points, but I could make a video. It would basically just be a video of me talking. I wouldn't even like be doing much of like editing because I'd just be telling you what I did, and it's just as simple as that. But yeah, let's just get into the review. So Robson, you guys have to understand that Robson is a center midfielder or a central midfielder, central midfield. That's what I like to call them. As I'm trying to say is that he's a whole player. A whole player is a player that, like, you know, likes to run into empty gaps that he sees in the pitch, especially when attacking. So it's best to play him really in a midfield 3. You can't play him in a midfield 2 because he's going to leave the other midfielder basically, you know, to die, not really to die, but he's going to leave a lot of gaps in your formation, and you don't want that. And I know some people gonna come up in the comment section and be like, well, Sharc, can I use icon in moment Lampard instead? Can I use Bruno? Relax. What I want you guys to realize is that Bruno, or let's say Lampard, we're comparing the two icon in moment players. Icon in moment Lampard and icon in moment Robson are two different players. They have two different purposes. If you guys want to attack more, because when you look at the stats, icon in moment Lampard's stats are better for attacking, while Robson's stats are better for defending. They both have the same passing capabilities. It's just that Robson can hit it off both feet. The thing is, he can use both feet. His weak foot is just as strong as his strong foot, and his strong foot is his left foot. So he's better for set pieces for me, because you don't really get much or many left-footed players that you can actually use to deliver proper corners, and they, it works well with my corner trick. So as I said, it all depends on what you want. If you want a person who can shoot more, because they can shoot more. The thing is, Lampard is better for set pieces like penalty and probably free kicks occasionally. It just depends on which foot you really prefer. The only left-footed player that I really have in my team is Roberto Carlos, and maybe Ake. Apart from that, Ake can't really do set pieces, so obviously it's either Robson or Roberto Carlos, and sometimes the curl from Roberto Carlos is just too overwhelming, so I prefer to use the Robson. The thing is, Robson doesn't really have much, but he is good. The reason why I say he doesn't really have much is because, okay, he's not really distinct, or he's really known for one specific thing. He can send a good pass, he can play some good 1-2s, because he's very integral in my upbringing. But you see, if you want to use him in a formation like Hansi Flick, you can't use him. The reason why I say that is because you have a right mid, a left mid, or switch it around, and you have a second striker, you have a striker, then you have two defenders. I mean, two midfielders. You have a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder, and you have another one beside him. It doesn't matter which player you want to use. Even if you use a destroyer beside him, Robson is going to leave this flank basically open, which is going to bring over that defensive mid here. And basically, unless you have a lot of players, you have to be in ultra defensive mode for that to really pull off. You get what I'm trying to say? Robson, because he'll always be running into spaces up front, because majority of the time he's always running into the box, which I love, don't get me wrong. But I just don't use him in the flick formation. I use him in any formation that has a midfield 3 or a proper midfield 3. So once you have a midfield 3, you can use him there. In this formation, you guys can barely see. I mean, you guys can obviously see that I have Scholes, I have Vera. Vera is a destroyer, Scholes is an orchestrator. So they both sit deep. So it gives Robson the freedom to run ahead and do what he wants to do. But sometimes what I actually notice is that for some reason, Vera would advance forward and Robson would come back. And that's good. He actually fills in some gaps sometimes. Like when Vera goes forward, Robson comes forward. Robson goes back. My apologies. The thing is now, when using him, I prefer to use him off the right. The reason why I prefer to use him off the right is because, I mean, you can use him off the left, but it's just my preference. I use him off the right. Off the right because his stronger foot is the left foot. If I want to cross the ball, yes, he can cross the ball, like, because he can use either feet, so it's good, or either foot, so it's very good. But when going forward, if he has like a clear-cut chance to the goal, I can curl it with the left foot, or I can take a straight shot with the left foot to the near post, and that's a win-win situation in my book. So the way how I see it, that's where I like to use him. I don't know where you guys like to use him. When you look at his stats, as I said, his stats aren't really the best stats. He's not really that tall. He's 175 centimeters, so he's about 5'10.5" or something like that. When using the boost, as I said, these attacking stats are very impressive, but they're not as good as Lampard. Lampard's stats are better, but Lampard is slower than Robson. Robson is faster, and Lampard's stamina is one more than Robson. So let's say Lampard has 96 stamina, Robson has 95. So it doesn't matter. They'll survive. His set piece taking, as I said, Lampard is better for set piece taking. I just use Robson for the corners. His curl is only 85 though, so you don't really expect him to score much curlers, but he has the outside curler trait, and that's very effective. So as I said, I hope that really helped you guys to really, you know, understand how to use this player. There's not really much more to really say about this player. He's very good. I've already stated some of the capabilities and abilities that he has, because he can head a ball. You guys are seeing it in the video right now, because I've scored a lot of goals with him and I've assisted a lot of goals with him, or he's been involved in like the build-up play, so he's very good in that aspect. So I mean, there's not really much to say. Yeah, he has the rising shot, he has acrobatic finishing, he has as I said, outside curler, he has captaincy and fighting spirit, but I mean, most persons don't really need that. Like the way how I see it, icon movement players are just featured players that are always in good condition, because featured players have just as good stats as them. The legend cards, you know, would be like regular base cards, the regular base cards that can keep condition. Because okay, so for instance, I wanted to use a whole player, a central midfielder that is a whole player. I'm trying to think of one, but regardless of the fact, let's say for instance I put Bruno Fernandes or Van de Beek, they would do the same job that Robson do, they would do the same job that Lampard do, and that's a feature. It's just that sometimes the condition is going to be in orange or red or whatever. That's the problem that I have with him. At least with this, he's guaranteed to be in at least the yellow, green, or whatever other color there is. So that's just that, you know. As I said, I can make a video on the eFootball thing. I'm going to make a video on this formation that I'm currently using, and I can make a video on, I forgot, but still, I'm Sharc Gaming, and I'm out.